Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. It's a special City Council meeting, so we certainly want you to watch every minute of it tonight. This is Tuesday, May 15th, and we're certainly glad that all of you are here today. We will start tonight's meeting with a roll call of your City Council.
Okay, Council members Rothing.
Here.
Aguilar.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Entenmann.
Here.
Erpenbach.
Here.
Jameson.
Here.
Karski.
Here.
All 8 city councilors are here tonight, which is just great. And also it's special, we've got a really special guest, Father Chuck Simple with St. Michael's Parish here tonight. He will lead us in our invocation as we celebrate this special night. After Father Chuck is done with the prayer, we'd ask you to remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance. Father Simple.
On this beautiful evening in Sioux Falls, God, creator of all that's good, true, and beautiful, we gather this evening as this council again makes decisions for our community of Sioux Falls. May they use only their best skills and judgment, keeping themselves impartial and neutral as they consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter placed before our City Council this evening. May they act in accordance with what is best for our community and for all our fellow citizens. We seek blessings on the tasks before us. Bless our council with clear insights, their deliberations with wisdom, their work with clarity and accuracy as they meet to serve us in our wonderful city of Sioux Falls. Help them to use our resources wisely and well. Help them to be patient and kind as they interact with each other. Help them to work together to find common ground. Enable them to move forward with a shared purpose. May they see what is truly important and what unites us, focusing on that to banish roadblocks of ego and fear. This evening, as I gather here with this council, I offer special thanks to the service that Vernon Brown has given to this council throughout the years. I have known Vernon for a couple of decades as I met him in 1989 when he was editor of that wonderful collegian at South Dakota State University, and then became a reporter in our city, asking penetrating questions and wearing stylish hats. We're thankful for the service he has given to this council. We're thankful for all his collegiality with those here and for the efforts he has given to make Sioux Falls a better place to live. Bless him, bless his family, and bless, O God, for we are a city, we pray, under your watchful guidance and protection. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you, everybody. It is a special night tonight, and we do have some proclamations that we'd like to start the meeting off with. First is Don Heeb here. Don, please come forward if you don't mind. Welcome. Don, would you just mind introducing yourself to the people of Sioux Falls?
Sure. I'm Don Heeb, and I'm president of Bait of Sioux Falls, a Brotherhood for Awareness, Training, and Education, and this is our vice president, Mark Garrison.
Well, hi, Mark. Hi, Don. Welcome. Whereas the motorcycle has been an important part of recreation, transportation, and tourism in South Dakota. Whereas the motorcycle has contributed to governmental activities nationally as well as locally, both in wartime and peacetime. Whereas motorcycle ownership has increased from 500,000 to over 5 million in the United States today. Whereas, as a matter of safety, it is necessary to develop skills and awareness of proper habits to handle these vehicles on our highways. Whereas, it is important the citizens of our state be aware of motorcycles on the highways and recognize the importance of sharing the roadway. Whereas, motorists should have a special awareness of the vulnerability of motorcyclists. Whereas, education and safe riding habits are worthy of special recognition, and South Dakota is one of the 4 safest states for riding motorcycles in the United States. Whereas motorcycle safety and awareness weeks and months have been proclaimed in states throughout our nation. Whereas in the month of May, there is an annual renewal of motorcycling enthusiasm. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim May 2012 as Motorcycle Safety and Awareness Month in Sioux Falls. Donna Mark, thank you so much. And if the Public Works team wouldn't mind coming forward, we'd appreciate it. Who wants to introduce who here? Trent, would you?
Perry This is Perry Eckhoff. He runs our billing division. This is Mark Perry. He's the superintendent of water reclamation. Greg Anderson, he's the superintendent of water purification. Dean Borkart, budget operations. And Mike Burkhart, electric light.
This is your Public Works team. They're leading all the good things in our city. And whereas Public Works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of the public works system, and programs such as utility infrastructure, clean water, well-managed transportation, and environmentally safe treatment and disposal of all waste. Whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services. Whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of the public works officials. Whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public works departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding of the importance of the work they perform. Now, therefore, I'm Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, do hereby proclaim May 20th through the 26th, 2012 as National Public Works Week in Sioux Falls, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. Team, we thank you. And now if I could get Councilor Brown certainly come forward, and Councilor Aguilar and Councilor Urbanbach. And Councilor Brown, I think we should also introduce the people of Sioux Falls to your family as well. One of the things that I've learned is that when you are in public service, the sacrifice that your family plays in this role is just amazing. So, Councilor Brown, would you mind introducing, and Tammy, would you mind coming up? Emma, would you mind coming up? Councilor Brown, would you introduce your family to the people of Sioux Falls?
Well, this is my wife, Tammy, and she's a teacher at Washington High School. And this is Emma, and she is 8 years old. She was here with us last week as well. So I'll have a few other comments afterwards, providing the chair lets me have the floor for a minute.
Whereas Vernon Brown is an elected official who believes local government exists to directly serve citizens and strengthen communities. His approach to public service, his priorities, and his accomplishments reflect an individual who puts the greater good ahead of personal gain. Whereas in his 8 years on the City Council, Vernon has a record that helped shape Sioux Falls into a thriving, progressive, and indeed fiscally sound city. He is a staunch advocate for public safety, having supported adding 24 police officers, 19 firefighters, and 2 fire stations. He was a founding member of the city's Homeless Advisory Board and spent countless hours working with community partners on solutions to this complex issue. Whereas Vernon is a strong supporter of infrastructure, from investing in the Lewis and Clark project to ensure a future water supply to expanding sewer capability on the city's east side and opening up 23,000 acres for development. Whereas, under Vernon's leadership and consensus building, the Great Plains Zoo emerged as a gem for Sioux Falls residents and visitors. He supported the creation of 100 acres of new neighborhood parks, the development of the city's River Greenway, the renaissance of Falls Park, and the completion of the city's bike trail. Vernon also supported 2 branch libraries and a significant addition to the city's main library. Whereas, perhaps Vernon's greatest gift as an elected official is his ability to connect with his constituents. He is a natural communicator. He can simplify complex issues and relate them in ways that anyone can understand. Vernon is an unflinching advocate for transparency. Whereas, throughout his service, it has been obvious that Vernon Brown truly cares for Sioux Falls and the people that he represents. He is an elected official who has ridden along with the police, spent the night in a homeless shelter, takes his family to the city parks, and spends his free time patronizing downtown Sioux Falls. Most significantly, Vernon has consistently based his decisions on the council on what he's felt was the best for Sioux Falls and its future. Now, therefore, I, Mike Huther, Mayor of the City of Sioux Falls, I do hereby proclaim Wednesday, May 16th as Vernon Brown Day in our town. And I urge all citizens to reach out to this man and personally thank him for his 8 years of service and so much more to our community as a member of the Sioux Falls City Council. It is with great honor that I introduce you to Vernon Brown and, of course, all that he represents in our great town. Councilor Brown, thank you.
What more can you say after that proclamation? Vernon, is not only a pleasure, but it is truly an honor for me to have the opportunity to say to you, thank you for your service. Thank you on behalf of the council that sits behind you, the previous councils that you have shared this chamber with, and also thank you from the city employees for all of that you have done over the years to promote Sioux Falls. And most importantly, thank you on behalf of the citizens of Sioux Falls that you have served so admirably. We have a few mementos for you so that you won't forget us. First of all, we have this plaque for you that reads most appropriately, in recognition of your outstanding public service, Vernon Brown, Sioux Falls City Council Member at Large, 2004 to 2012. And then, so that you really don't forget us, we have a picture of Carnegie for you to hang in a prominent place. I promise you, Tammy, it doesn't have to be in the living room. It is signed by the current council and staff of the City Council. And most appropriately, this picture was taken during the winter months so that you can fondly remember those Monday nights that you sat in here and either froze to death or else were so hot that you had to take off your jacket. Again, Vernon, we thank you for all that you have done to serve the people of Sioux Falls.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a little bit like the Oscars. You're not going to get rid of me quite yet. I have a couple thank yous to run through. First of all, Mayor, thank you for the day. Wow, a full day. Does that include immunity for parking tickets, speeding, all of that? That's covered? Very good. And City Council, council members, thank you very much. It has been such an honor serving with all of you. And you know, the beauty of this council is the citizens need to know that although we may disagree up here at times, we're able to walk away from this and still be friends. And I really value that. The citizens are served well by that. City employees, we owe a great debt of gratitude to you. We may make some tough decisions up here, but you are the ones that have a tougher job of implementing those and enforcing them. So thank you for all that you do in the community. And then Sue talked about the citizens. You know, behind being a husband and father, there's been no greater reward than serving the citizens of Sioux Falls. And I'm honored for the trust they've put in me for the last 8 years. I have a few personal thank yous as well. Father Chuck, thank you for your kind words and your friendship for 20 plus years. I really appreciate you being here this evening. I want to thank my staff at SDN and especially Mark Shalanta. Citizens are often surprised that we have full-time jobs beyond this. Of course, my boss may wonder some days which is my full-time job, but he's always been very encouraging and supportive of me in this role, and I deeply appreciate that. And finally, Tammy, who has put up with more than she deserves, but she has always been supportive of me in this role and always stood behind me, even on those toughest days where you scratch your head and wonder, why am I doing this? So Tammy, thank you. And Emma. Emma was born 12 days. I wasn't going to get emotional about this. She was born 12 days before I was first elected. And like this city, she's growing up. And she has been to more city meetings and events and speeches than any other kid in this community. And I hope that someday she can also appreciate why her old man would do this. And I think she does already. I had a nice visit with Earl McCart's daughter one time, and she was the same age as Emma when her father was in office. And she said, your daughter will always have a deeper appreciation for public service as a result. Don't feel bad about the nights you are gone. Emma has never known Dad to be home on Mondays, now Tuesday nights. So that's about to change. And I'm grateful for all the time that we've had together, and we will have more. This morning when I dropped her off for school, she paused as she got out of the car and said, Daddy, are you going to be sad about leaving the city? And she meant city council. And I said, a little bit, but I'm more happy for the time that I get to spend with you and Mommy. And that is a gift. Also, people keep asking me, what are you going to do when you leave city council? Well, I have great news. I'm going to Disney. We're taking a well-deserved family vacation, and so thank you very much. I appreciate all that I've received much more than I've ever given to the city, and I will continue to give in different ways. Thank you very much.
And now we have one more award. Yeah.
Councilor Brown, thank you so much for all that you've done for our city and will yet do with the days that God has given you. We do have another special award. This is called the Mayor's Award for Historic Preservation. And we give this once a year. And I'd like to bring the folks up from Security Bank, if you don't mind. Welcome. Would you mind introducing yourself to the people of our town?
Sure, I'm Norman Drake. I'm president of Legacy Developments here in Sioux Falls.
Norman, thank you. Annually, the mayor and the Sioux Falls Board of Historic Preservation, they recognize an individual or property owner with the Mayor's Historic Preservation Award. This award is presented to those who have demonstrated a commitment to historic preservation through advocacy, education, investment, or service. The Security Bank building on the corner of 9th Street and Main Avenue is rich with Sioux Falls history. When it opened nearly 100 years ago, the bank was perhaps the most beautiful bank in all of Sioux Falls. Customers were greeted with a grand two-story open atrium when they entered the bank. Large columns rising above the floor to coffered ceilings gave customers a strong sense of security. Ironically, Security Bank was also the site of the most notorious bank robbery in the history of our town. In 1934, Dillinger's gang robbed the bank and made off with $49,500. And that was a lot of money in 1934. Over the course of many years, the building indeed lost much of its luster due to modifications of the interior space and the exterior facade. Just a few years ago, it was nearly impossible to envision the original Grand Bank design when entering the building. However, all that changed 1 year ago when Legacy Development and the Security Building, LLC, began making major renovations on the first floor and mezzanine level of the Security Bank building. Over $1 million was carefully invested in creating a space well-fitting to the original design of the building. Many hours of research and painstaking craftsmanship ensured the original structure was brought back to its glory. The current tenant in the newly renovated space is the law firm of Johnson, Heidepen, and Abdallah. Because of all this, the 2012 Mayor's Historic Preservation Award goes to Legacy Development for the restoration of the Security Bank building. We do thank you for your investment and congratulations. Well, thank you, everyone, for your patience, and what a great way to start the meeting. We'll now move on to tonight's consent agenda. Council, any motions or?
Move to approve, Erpenbach.
Second, Entenmann.
Councilor Erpenbach's made a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, and it was seconded by Councilor Entenmann. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please. Oh, I'm so sorry, Councilor Anderson, Jr.
I was just going to say on, item 9, on the communications, I'll have to step out and not vote on that.
Okay. Councilor Bach, would you mind?
I would amend my motion to remove item 9, and we'll approve the rest of it as a package, and then we'll do 9 later. Is that? That's my motion is to remove item 9.
Second, Anderson.
Second. Thank you, Councilor Entenmann. So we now have a motion to approve the consent items 1 through 10, but removing item number 9. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Rothing?
Yes.
Aguilar? Yes. Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0.
Missed one.
Councilor Karski, your vote, please.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm
thank
sorry. I'm flying
Would-
solo tonight.
you. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve item number 9?
So moved, Erpenbach.
Second, Entenmann.
There has been a motion to approve item number 9, seconded by Councilor Entenmann. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Rothing?
Yes.
Aguilar? Yes. Anderson? Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you. Item number 11.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We need to approve the regular agenda. We just approved item 11, correct? 11, 12, and 13, aren't they on the consent agenda that we just approved?
Yeah, we did say 10. Yeah.
You want to do 11, 12, and 13
Yeah, let's do
separately?
11 and 12.
Then I would
Thank
move
you.
approval of 11, 12, and 13.
Thank you.
Second Aguilar.
There has been a motion to approve items number 11, 12, and 13. If there is no further discussion, let's have a roll call vote on that.
Council members Rothing?
Yes.
Aguilar? Yes. Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Now we'll move on to tonight's regular agenda. Council, any changes to tonight's regular agenda?
Move to approve the regular agenda. Entenmann.
Second, Anderson.
Councilor Emmons made a motion to approve tonight's agenda, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. If there is no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Okay, council members Rolfing.
Yes.
Aguilar.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Entenmann.
Yes.
Erpenbach.
Yes.
Jameson.
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed 8-0. Item 14. Oh my gosh. I'm all discombobulated. I apologize. I apologize. Folks, this is an opportunity for you to engage the council. Every council meeting, we do start the meeting with an opportunity for you to have some public input. If you would like to come forward, we'd appreciate that. If you could just keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and then just introduce yourself to the people of Sioux Falls. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Mayor Huther, council members. I had...
Would you just mind introducing
and,
yourself?
my name is Dave Mavity, and I'm a Sioux Falls native. I live at 2603 South Cook Road here in Sioux Falls. I met with my friend Rich Lauer at a Rotary meeting last Friday, asking him when he and his other concerned citizens were going to present their case about a city ordinance about cell phone texting. He told me that had been done last week, and I do want to share that Mr. Lauer and I do not agree on texting ordinance. 2 weeks ago, superintendent of the Christian school near 69th and Cliff convinced this body that the fear of Walmart drivers posed a risk to his 14 to 18-year-old drivers. And now, as a city, we're about to blame cell phone texting for creating such fears. Well, again, you'd miss the big picture. I'd like to share my own personal observations. First of all, why is it important? If you'll bring your attention to the map that we've kindly put up there, I want you to see that South Dakota, a red state, is winning in a negative way the battle of teen driving statistics, talking about 17 to 29 deaths per 100,000 in the red category. The slide depicts where we rank. The takeaway is not why we're red, but it's why Minnesota's blue. I've also provided your clerk with copies of the Governor's Highway Safety Association study on teenage driving fatalities. I don't want you to be misled. If you choose to read it, you'll see that South Dakota had 0 fatalities the year that was written. Don't be, we fixed that later in the year. We got up to our good red standing. It was reported on the news last night. We're at 57 deaths in the state on KSFY because of the things going on in Harrisburg. So we're probably on track to be red again without a problem. I also provided your secretary a copy of 11 facts about teen driving that's on a website aptly named DoSomething.org. Excuse me if that was missed, DoSomething.org. The best stuff about teenage driving actually comes from the Center for Disease Control. So you'd ask yourself, why disease control? Because in my opinion, our legislative bodies, that is those in the red states, are sick. Failing to save the most vulnerable drivers among us from tragic injury and death by a failure to take action is a type of illness. I lived in Germany for 7 years of my life, and during my second tour of duty there, I had an additional duty to train all military drivers in the squadron, about 480 people, by the way, to understand international road signs, German driving laws, and present defensive driving training course. Germany has a wonderful driving law. It's called diminished capacity. It appeals to their practical nature of Germans. It dates back to the mid-50s. If you're under the influence of a new designer drug, no problem, diminished capacity. In this day and age, sleeping at the wheel, eating lunch, talking to passengers, reading a book, diminished capacity. And I'm sure it's used today for texting. What I do want you to know and to appreciate is that an ordinance to prevent cell phone texting use is too narrow. The issue is distracted driving. 35,000 teens in 5 years, 6,000 a year, 18 a day in the United States. The fix is referred to as graduated driver licensing. Read the literature. Pass an ordinance to cover distracted driving. But most of all, Mayor Huther, direct that the police department enforces it. Doubtful as I am, enforcement together with a well-written ordinance covering a broader scope may help. Finally, when you as a council have put a good ordinance on the books, insist that the mayor sits down with Dennis Dugard, all of the legislators that have voters here in Sioux Falls, and each of you speak with them passionately and clearly in a clear voice that supports GDL in South Dakota. To make state law and parental involvement a reality and not just a punchline in a public service announcement. Do better what concerned citizens cannot do themselves. Speak from your bully pulpit. Do not be distracted by cell phone texting logic. Okay? Solve problems with real solutions. You know, on a personal note, I think Councilman Rolfing and I are old enough to remember when cars didn't have bucket seats, and when the policemen saw you driving down the road, you know, with your sweetheart, they had no compunction at all to pull you over and talk to you about that or write you a ticket. But as I drive down the road today, no one turns around, no one pays any attention to people driving their phone booth around Sioux Falls. And that's what has to change. That is distracted driving at its worst. I ask you to be sensible and to create something that far exceeds what Rich Lauer and his group of concerned citizens want. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mavity, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone else who wants to speak to the council? Well, very good. Thank you so much. We now will move on to item number 14.
Okay, 14 is a new 2012 retail wine license for JLB SF Inc., JL Beers, to be operated at 323 South Phillips Avenue, main floor, Suite A, with the conditional use permit being approved on 11/2/11. Item 15, new 2012 retail wine license for Zing Inc., Zing, to be operated at 524 North Main Avenue, Suite 110, with the conditional use permit being approved on 4/4/12. Item 16, special one-day wine license request for Downtown Farmers Market Inc., to be held at the Falls Park Picnic Pavilion, 900 North Phillips Avenue, for the Centennial Picnic on August 7, 2012. Special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for South Dakota Achieve, to be operated at South Dakota Achieve, 4100 Southwestern Avenue, for a public awareness event on September 11, 2012. Item 18, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine licenses for downtown Sioux Falls, to be operated at the Big Sioux River Greenway between 6th and 8th Streets in the Sharapa Amphitheater, for a Greenway grand opening on June 8, 2012. And item 19, special one-day malt beverage and special one-day wine license request for Augustana College, to be operated at the Sanford Center, 2301 East 60th Street North, for a scholarship fundraiser on July 22, 2012. The applicant has withdrawn their application. No action needed.
Good evening, Jamie Palmer, licensing specialist. I'm here to answer any questions you may have on items 14 through 18.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes, Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Excuse me. Number 15, what type of business is that, Zing? Is it a restaurant, bar?
It is a crafting type setting where they're going to allow people to come into their back room and work on art projects or craft projects, and they want to be able to offer them a glass of wine or a beer while they're working on their projects.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Brown.
And to further answer, they're a graphic design business here in town that has these special events that Jamie's talking about.
Well, Council, any motions?
Move to approve items 14 through 18, Erpenbach.
Second, Entenmann.
There's been a motion to approve items number 14 through 18. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Council members Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 20.
Item 20 is to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 5, 2012 at 7 p.m. for a first reading of an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at North Bob Holla Drive and West Benson Road from the RC Recreation Conservation District to Sub-Area A of the Sanford Sports Complex Plan Development District, petition number 2012-0214, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Good evening, I'm Mike Cooper representing Planning and Building Services. This particular petition consists of about 5 acres of land. It's owned by Sanford Health and it's currently under construction with a new building that's going to be known as the Field House. The history of this property goes back to about 2009 when the city was working with Sanford as well as the Parks Department on master planning this area for a new junior football complex as well as potential development that would be initiated by Sanford Health. We initially zoned a portion of this area as recreation conservation, and then we also zoned a portion of it to a planned development, specifically to develop a campus master plan for Sanford. On the Sanford master plan, they've showed future development plans for everything from a hotel, restaurant, commercial shops, and also the Pentagon building, which will soon be under construction. A conditional use permit was approved for the Field House, and one of the stipulations is that they would come back and initiate this rezoning so that we could put all the Sanford development under one umbrella zoning district and then keep the city portion of this separate as recreation conservation. We'll also be dealing with the Sanford facility at a future date in terms of things including some alcohol license requests. So again, this is under construction. It is planned to be opened yet this fall, the Field House. The Pentagon, which will be directly to the north of this, is proposed to be done in 2013. The recommendation by the Planning Commission is to change this 5 acres from recreation conservation and make it part of the planned development district for the balance of the Sanford Health development.
Council, would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 5th at 7 p.m. for item 20?
So moved, Brown.
Councilor Vernon Brown's made that motion, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Is there any other discussion? Very good. A roll call vote, please.
Council members Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jameson,
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 21.
First reading an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the revised ordinances of the city by addition community gardens as a permitted land use in all zoning districts of Appendix B, the zoning ordinance. Planning Commission recommends approval.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Can I
Councilor
hear,
Rolfing.
a point of privilege here and introduce Shauna here. As part of the Land Use Committee, we've established a urban garden task force, and this is part of the fruits of that labor. We've come up with an ordinance that has outlined the uses for community gardens, and Sean is here for the entire task force who's worked hard at putting this together. And we thank Shauna for all the work that she's done in helping us put that together, and we thank the entire task force for putting this law or this ordinance together. So, Shauna, if you'd do the honors of telling us all about it.
Thank you, Councilor Rolfing. As he said, my name is Shauna Goldammer, and I'm your zoning enforcement manager. Good evening to the council, as well as the viewers on Channel 16 and the members of the audience. We're really excited on behalf of the Urban Agriculture Task Force to bring forward an ordinance that allows community gardening citywide. This is the only land use that we've created in the zoning ordinance that allows something to happen citywide across the board in all zoning districts. As you recall, in Shape Sioux Falls, we do have 9 broad elements. That is what we look for to enhance neighborhoods and increase community in our city. And community gardening and urban agriculture is one of those elements that can help create a community within a neighborhood. what we've done is create a definition, and I just want to read that to you. Through our task force, we had about 5 months of meetings to come up with this one simple paragraph, but we really worked hard on it, and here is the definition of a community garden. Community garden, urban agriculture gardening that is a neighborhood-based garden for the primary purpose of providing space for members of the community to grow plants for beautification, education, recreation, community distribution, or personal use. These sites are managed by individual groups or an individual that are responsible for maintenance. As supplemental policy to clarify provisions of this title, maintenance and management guidelines for community gardens shall be provided by the Director of Planning. And as the supplemental information, I'm going to pass around our community guidelines for community gardens that the task force established as supplemental information to help people understand what the community standard is for management of community gardens. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions while I pass this around for you all to see.
Shauna, thank you. Well, seeing that there's no questions, would Councilor Rolfing like to make a motion to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 5th at 7 p.m. For this item?
I would be very happy to move that.
Councilor Rolfing, thank you.
Second, Karski.
And it's been seconded by Councilor Karski. If there's no further comments, a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Council members Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 8-0. Item 22.
First reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, approving an offer to purchase real property from the City of Sioux Falls.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Brent O'Neill with the Community Development Department. This item should look familiar. It's tied to the Hilton Garden Inn project at the former site of the river ramp. We're nearing the end of a lot of the city steps that need to occur to make that project happen. One of the big ones and one of the final ones is the transfer of land of that surface lot on the east bank to the developer. The exhibit you have before you just kind of illustrates what piece of property is being transferred and again how that kind of fits in with the overall scheme and why this particular piece is needed for that development. In a nutshell, that's it. It's part of a package with our development with the developer, and we ask for your support on this. We put this package together. The developer's proposal was to tear down the river ramp in lieu of paying a sum of money. The value assigned to this land is approximately $962,500 to be exact. And so the developer is doing some cost with the river ramp removal and site remediation to basically neutralize and equalize the cost of the property.
Council, would anybody like to set a date of hearing and second reading for Tuesday, June 5th at 7 p.m. for item 22?
So moved, Aguilar.
Second, Rolfing.
Councilor Aguilar has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Rolfing. If there are no further questions or comments, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Entenmann,
Yes.
Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Karski.
Yes.
That is passed 8-0. Item 23.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls approving the preliminary plan of the Dakota Crossing Addition. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This is a petition submitted by Clint Ackerman, the developer of Dakota Crossings Addition. This is about just over 50 acres of land in the northeast corner of 85th Street and South Minnesota Avenue. This is an area that's familiar to the council. We had quite a discussion at previous council meetings about zoning in this area. Mr. Ackerman, at the last Planning Commission meeting, did submit a conditional use permit for 4 plexes, and that did go through with very little public discussion. And so we believe that the compromise that was worked out after some additional time to look at that is going to be very desirable for this area. and that north row of lots will continue to be marketed for future single-family development. So as you look at this preliminary development plan, it shows a combination of both public and private right-of-ways, and this has gone through city staff review. It does meet all of our engineering design requirements for not only streets but also for utilities and drainage, and it is being recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. And as you can see tonight, we do not have any neighborhood opposition to this preliminary plan.
Thanks, Mike. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. Council, any questions or comments, motions?
Move for approval, Anderson.
Second, Karski.
Councilor Anderson Jr. has made a motion to approve this item, seconded by Councilor Karski. If there are no further comments, a roll call vote, please.
Council members Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 24.
A resolution of the City of Sioux Falls approving the preliminary plan of the Northwest Middle School Site Addition. Planning Commission recommends approval.
This property is about 40 acres of land area. It's located west of Marion Road on the south side of Maple Street. The City Council recently approved annexation of this property. This preliminary plan shows the property being divided into 4 lots. These lots will be developed in the future by the Sioux Falls School District for a middle school and future elementary school. And then there's also a lot available for a future park site as well as for a future Northwest Fire Station site. As we discussed at the annexation meeting, the city intends to begin providing utility access to this area, services to this area, and then in 2013 is when the school district will be working towards completion of the middle school. And we also have in our capital program in the future to come out and make additional street improvements on Maple. So this also has gone through city staff review. It also meets all of our engineering requirements, and the Planning Commission is recommending approval of this preliminary development plan.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone in the audience who wanted to speak to this item? Very good. Council?
Move approval, Erpenbach.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Buck's made a motion to approve item 24, seconded by Councilor Aguilar. If there is no further comments, a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Council members Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
That has passed 8-0. Item 25. Lori?
A resolution advising and giving consent to the appointment of members to certain citizen boards.
Lori, would you mind reading those for the people?
I certainly can.
Okay.
To the Board of Ethics, we have Jeffrey Gadnowski, Carol Knutson, and Gregory LaFollette. To the Disability Awareness Commission, Kendra Gotslebin, Shelley Hart, and Matt Pruner. And to the Human Relations Commission, Bojan Salihijic.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I think it would be appropriate to have our outgoing council person, Vernon Brown, ask for the adjournment.
Let's
Are we ready
vote,
for that?
Let's vote on
We
this
gotta
one.
vote on that.
Let's vote
I'm
on
sorry.
25. And then we'll certainly give Councilor Brown that honor that he so deserves.
We need a motion to approve the resolution, correct?
Thank you, Councilor
Oh, I
Enderman.
thought we'd-
Second, Karski.
Councilor Enderman has made that motion, seconded by Councilor Anderson Jr. to approve item number 25. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Council members Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Very good. And now, Councilor Rolfing, would you mind?
Mr. Mayor, it'd be
Councilor
my
Brown.
honor to move to adjourn.
Second, Erpenbach.
Very good. If I could hand the gavel over to Councilor Brown so that he can
That's okay.
strike the mallet, I think it'd be fun.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown has made a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, and it was seconded. Let's have a final roll call in Councilor Brown's honor. And if Councilor Brown could be the last person read, I think that would be appropriate.
Council members Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Entenmann?
Yes.
Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
Yes.
Karski?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes, we're adjourned.